In today's video, we'll show you the shockingly easy ways that you could accidentally lose your Social Security benefits in 2024. With over a decade in the financial advisory field, I've seen how easy it is for retirees to lose their benefits. And that's precisely why in today's video, I'm going to show you how to safeguard your retirement income from these hidden pitfalls. So let's dive into the video. The quickest way to lose your benefits for Social Security in 2024 is to go to jail and be incarcerated for more than 30 days or 30 days consecutively. So I'm assuming that if you're watching this video, it's not because you think you're probably going to go to jail for the next 30 days or longer. So let's talk about some of the other ways that you can miss out on Social Security benefits as you're thinking about planning for your financial future, retirement, and especially if you're wanting to retire early. So the first way of losing out on benefits for Social Security is going to apply to people who are not quite retired. I mean, it's possible you could be retired, but this is going to refer to people who are either entrepreneurs or business owners. So a common mistake, or it's not even necessarily a mistake, but something that I've seen many, many times working with business owners or entrepreneurs is when they are doing their taxes, they are on a year-to-year basis. Obviously, like everybody, they're trying to figure out how they can save money on taxes. And oftentimes, business owners have different ways that they can pay themselves from their business. They can pay themselves in the form of receiving wages, and they can also pay themselves in the form of, taking out profit distributions, K-1 distributions from their business. Now, when you look at these two different sources of methods of compensating yourself as a business owner, there's different implications. And often, business owners will lean towards minimizing their wages and maximizing profit distributions. The number one reason is because they don't have to pay Social Security taxes, or the other term for this is payroll taxes, on those distributions, but they do have to pay it on wages up to a certain point. And as far as Social Security goes, just for the amount going to Social Security, and they have to pay both sides of it, they have to pay 12.4% just for the Social Security benefit, and on top of that, 3.8% for Medicare, so all in 15.7%. Is that math right? Correction. So the total payroll tax amount is actually 15.3%, not 15.7%. So as a business owner, you have to pay that total amount. Now, if you work for a company, you don't notice this, you're only paying half of that, 7.65%. So business owners will often say, hey, I would, being able to save 15.3% of my taxes, great benefit. So if I don't have to do it, then I'm not going to. The problem with this is that if that's done too aggressively, then you're going to miss out on Social Security benefits once you retire. So I did the math on this to try to kind of figure out if there's a way to optimize the taxes you pay for payroll taxes relative to the benefits you receive once you're retired. So I tried to find some articles online, and I ended up doing what I often do, which is opening up an Excel spreadsheet and doing some of the analysis myself. So it's going to look messy. You're going to see a very poorly edited Excel sheet, but we're going to go there to look at what I found out. Okay, so on the screen in front of me is an Excel sheet I was using just to try and figure out what is kind of the optimal amount of taxes to pay into Social Security to maximize the dollar amount that you're going to receive. So as a little bit of a refresher, you don't have to pay Social Security tax or payroll tax on your full income. In fact, it's only up to what's called the Social Security wage base, and in 2024, that amount is $168,000. So if you have W-2 income above that, you're just going to pay payroll taxes, and specifically the portion for Social Security, the 12.4%, up to that Social Security wage base. Above that, you don't, but you do have to pay Medicare. So now when you're paying up to that, you may not be aware, but the benefits you receive in Social Security are directly tied to the amount that you pay into it. However, not every dollar contribution is treated the same. So for example, somebody who makes $30,000 a year and is paying payroll taxes, once they begin receiving benefits, the amount of benefit they receive in Social Security relative to the amount of taxes they were paying in is going to be a higher ratio compared to somebody who was making on average $168,000 a year adjusted for inflation. Compared to the benefit they receive, the taxes they pay relative to the benefit they receive is going to be a lower ratio. And so I'm not going to go into the math of exactly how this is all figured out. You can look it up online. Look up terms like AIME, A-I-M-E, and PIA. But I'll just jump to the conclusion here. When it comes to being a business owner, you usually have some flexibility as far as what you declare as wages and what you declare as profit distributions. And so let's say, for example, you're going to be able to pay yourself something like $200,000 a year, and you're kind of, you have some wiggle room about how you define. Obviously, there's rules around how this is done. But, any CPA will tell you that there's some flexibility about, what you choose to claim and not, or how you decide to divide up this income source. When it comes to Social Security, so the optimal amount is receiving at least $84,000, $85,000 of W-2 income. That's kind of the way to have the right ratio of Social Security taxes paid relative to benefits received. And so for a single person, if you were earning up to this amount, paying that amount in W-2 wages, for every dollar that you pay into Social Security in payroll tax, eventually as a retiree, what you're going to receive about $3.36 for every dollar you pay in. Now, I did this looking at somebody who's working from age 25 down to age 60. They stop working, and then at age 67 until age 100, they're claiming their FRA age 67 full retirement benefit. So as a single person, you're going to get $3.36 for every dollar you pay in, roughly. Now, on top of this, if you're married, the numbers are even better, because if you are married, your spouse is actually entitled to receiving a spousal benefit on top of your benefit, and their spousal benefit is equal to half of yours. So when you factor that in, for a married person, it's even better. For every dollar you pay into Social Security taxes up to this kind of middle point of about $85,000 adjusted for inflation going forward, you're going to receive about $5.03 of benefits for every dollar paid. Once you go above that, the numbers drop down significantly. In fact, for a single person, once you get above this $85,000 of W-2 income, you're going to end up receiving only about $1.20 in benefits for every dollar you pay into Social Security, between $85,000 and $168,000, the top of the Social Security wage base. So, number one, if you are a business owner, you have some flexibility of profits versus W-2 wages. Obviously, you do want to try and reduce your taxes if possible, and finding that sweet spot of about $85,000 of W-2 wages is kind of the sweet spot for maximizing your Social Security benefits relative to the taxes that you pay. All right, now let's go on to some other examples. The next way that I want to talk about losing your benefits in 2024 is not properly planning for spousal benefits. You probably are aware that through Social Security, you're entitled to benefits, retirement income benefits, if you're married to somebody who has an earnings history and qualifies, or if you used to be married to someone who has an earnings history and qualifies for benefits. Now, if you're divorced, you had to have been married for at least 10 years in order to qualify for divorced spousal benefits. Now, the differences in how much you receive over your lifetime under the different claiming strategies is huge. So I don't want to go so deep into details today, but I do want to show you the dollar amount, kind of the gravity, or like how important this actually is. And so I'm going to pull up on the screen. We're going to look at some actual numbers for this. Is a husband and wife who both have a really good earnings history. They're the same age, and we want to look at different ways that they could claim their benefits to maximize it as a couple. And then we can break down and say, okay, now what would happen if they got divorced, or after the husband passes away or the wife passes away? How do their benefits work under those scenarios? Because by looking at all those different kind of variations, I think you can get a good idea of just how much benefits you could miss out on, or frankly, benefit from, if you understand how the Social Security rules work. So let's jump into it. All right, so on the screen here, we got Jack and Jill. They are 59 years old. We're looking out to them different ways that they could claim Social Security. They both have a PIA, which is their primary insurance amount, of $3,800 a month. And so let's look at kind of the different ways that they could claim their retirement benefits and the impact that would have. Obviously, we know they can claim it at their full retirement age, which is when each of them would receive $3,800 a month adjusted for inflation, or They could each claim it earlier as age 62. Now, if they do that, there's reductions. They could both delay until age 70, up to age 70, or anywhere in between 67 and 70, and get some delayed credits, some benefits to that base amount of $3,800. And then like every variation in between, because since they both have earned a benefit, they have the ability to, one could claim early, one could claim later. They could both claim at full retirement age. There's all these different variations. So let's look at some of these numbers to see the difference in dollar amount. So I'm going to come down here all the way to this little bar chart so we can kind of see a summary of what we're looking at. So both of them claiming it early, this is incredible. Let's say they both just live kind of an average life expectancy for male and female. If they were to both claim at age 62, we're looking at total over their lifetime about $2.9 million of Social Security benefits. Now, if they were both to delay claim later, we're looking more like $4 million of lifetime benefits. I mean, it's huge. It's over $1 million of expected benefits just in that one decision of when you claim Social Security. Now, obviously, when it comes to like planning your retirement, your ability to choose one over the other, it depends on so many things. Like, do you have other assets? When do you want to retire? There's so many things that go into this. But just to kind of isolate this one variable, there's so many things we can look at with retirement. But just to look at this one thing, you can see that it has a huge impact. So now kind of in the middle here, what if they both claim at full retirement age? What if one of them claims early and one of them claims later? So we've got these different variations. So you can see a huge dollar amount of discrepancy between them. Now, what if, how do spousal benefits work if, because right now we're looking at a scenario where the husband and wife, they both have an earnings history, they're both entitled to their own benefit. But now let's look at a situation where there's just spousal benefits. So you have, let's go here, Jack and Jill. Jack's got an earning history. Jill does not have an earnings history. She'll just qualify for spousal benefits. Let's look at how those work. Okay, so now what we're looking at, this is another one of my Excel sheets, a little better job of formatting than my last one. But let's say, Jack here, he's got his primary insurance amount of $3,800. So what'll happen here, the way that spousal benefits work, it's interesting. With spousal benefits, or I should say, like I talked about a second ago, if you claim your benefits early, you're going to get a reduction in your benefits. Now, what if, let's say in this case, what if he claims his benefit early? How will that impact Jill's spousal benefit? Well, it's interesting. With spousal benefits, the age that Jack claims will not impact Jill. So her benefit is based off of his PIA. So her spousal benefit is based off of his full benefit at full retirement age. So even if he claims it early, like 62, let's just assume, like, what if he claims it at 62 and then she waited until age 67? She's going to get half of the 67 benefit of the PIA, not half of Jack's, reduced age 62 benefit. Really important to note. So here we go. However, if Jill claims early, if she claims that spousal benefit early, she would have a reduction at that point. So you can see here, if she waits until age 67 to claim her benefit, she's getting half. If she claims it early, she gets a reduction, only 35%. And then you can see you basically have, everything in between. So now, what if Jack and Jill got divorced? How would that work? With divorced spousal benefits, you are entitled to a divorced spousal benefit. So if you were married to somebody for at least 10 years, so married for 10 years, okay, Jack and Jill married, then later on, Jill can claim spousal benefit, a divorced spousal benefit, and the same rule applies. So it doesn't matter if Jack claims it early or claims later, whatever the case is, she can claim that spousal benefit, and her benefit will be based off of Jack's full retirement age. And the only way that hers will go up or down is based off of whether she claims it early or claims it up to her full retirement age. Now, it's important to note, for spousal benefits, you don't get delayed credits past full retirement age. You're capped out for spousal benefits at age 67. Now, this is a very, very, very important thing that we're looking at here, because if you're planning for retirement and you've been divorced, especially, you may not have realized that you're entitled to benefits, and that can have a huge impact on how you plan for your retirement. Now let's look at survivor benefits. So with survivor benefits, you as the survivor, whether you're a divorce survivor, and the same rules apply, the 10-year rule, or you're just married and your spouse passes away, your benefit is based off of your spouse's actual Social Security benefit. So let's look at how this works. Let's say Jack, his primary insurance amount is $3,800. Now, okay, so here we are looking at survivor benefits. Now, another feature of survivor benefits is you can claim that benefit as early as age 60. Now, there's additional reductions that apply if you take that benefit at age 60, so we'll look at those here, but it's important to note. So under these three scenarios right here, we're going to look at Jill claiming her survivor benefit at different ages 60 through 67, and we're going to look at three variations if Jack claimed his benefit at age 67, 62, or at age 70. So you can see that here, full retirement age, Jack claimed his Social Security at 67. So Jill, if she claims at age 60, which she can do, she'll get 71.5% of what he was receiving, 67 benefit. So she'll get $27.17 a month. Now, as we go along, you can see that if she waits until age 67 to claim her survivor benefit, she would get 100% of Jack's PIA. And this is assuming, obviously, he claimed it at his full retirement age. Now, what if he claimed it early? So if he claimed it early, so if he claimed his benefit at age 62, that means instead of getting $3,800, now let's look at if Jack had claimed his Social Security early. So with survivor benefits, there's some safety mechanisms put into place so that survivors or widows are not left out in the cold with, financially. So there's kind of some safeguards in place. So in this case, you can see that even if Jack had claimed his Social Security at 62, Jill's survivor benefit is the same $27.17 as it would have been if Jack had waited until 67. Now you can see that because he claimed it early, her percentage of his full benefit will never get to 100%. So she's always going to have a reduction in that benefit. Okay, so now, and by the way, these survivor benefits apply to both your current spouse or a former spouse, unless you remarried before age 60. and by the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do, because I'll be coming out with more specific Social Security videos to help explain these topics in further detail to help you plan for your retirement or early retirement. So now let's look at what if Jack had waited until 70 to claim his Social Security. Well, the same reduction percentages apply to the survivor benefit for Jill based on when she claims, age 60 through age 67. But now the percentage is applied to not his full retirement age amount, but actually what he was actually receiving. So here, she's getting 71.5%, not of $3,800, but of $4,700. And you can see these percentages. Now she maxes out, waiting until age 67, getting $47.12 a month. So you can see that survivor benefits make a huge difference. And in fact, this is one of the best ways that you can maximize and protect the financial security of your spouse in retirement is by delaying your benefit so that your spouse can have a guaranteed inflation-adjusted income that's going to be higher later on, especially if you and your spouse, if there's a significant age gap, a lot of the times it makes sense to delay. So, even if like the stereotype husband passes away early, if the wife is younger, she's going to have that benefit for the rest of her life, and she'll get that maximized age 70 benefit. So there's another thing that I want to talk about here, which is when both husband and wife have their own Social Security benefit, whether you're married or divorced, and a spouse passes away, then you're able to do some strategies that are that can be even better. So, for example, as a widow, you could claim your survivor benefit at age 60, and then you could wait until age 70 and switch over to your own work history benefit. This allows you to essentially get paid to delay your benefit. Now, this really works if your full retirement age benefit is higher than the spouse or ex-spouse who passed away. This allows you then to get, basically get that 71% of their benefit all the way up until age 70. You switch over to your own work history benefit that's maximized. Inverse of that, if you have a work history benefit but it's low, you have the option where you could claim your own work history benefit at age 62. It's not as good, but you get paid from age 62 all the way until age 67. You can switch over to your full survivor benefit. And this is a way that you can maximize your Social Security benefits and not lose out on benefits when you're retired. And this applies whether you are a widow, your spouse passes away, or whether you are a divorced widow and your spouse, you were married for at least 10 years, before they passed away. So hopefully this has been helpful, and you got some good ideas that you can use to maximize and not miss out on Social Security benefits this year and in the future. Now that you're aware of these potential pitfalls that could quickly strip away your Social Security benefits, you are in a much better position to protect your retirement income in 2024 and beyond. Remember, staying informed and proactive is key to safeguarding the benefits you've earned over a lifetime of work. If you're concerned about your specific situation or want a personalized strategy to maximize and protect your Social Security benefits, please do not go it alone. My team of financial experts specializes in navigating the complex world of Social Security. To get tailored advice for your unique circumstances, click the link in the description to schedule a consultation.